We have so many versions of ourselves, how we are at home, how we are at work. And we're going to be different in those environments, but I teach people to have a core set of values. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's that really understanding the core of who you are. And, I guide people to understand that actually you're the gift. It's not, you can learn to become an Akashic Record Reader, Reiki, whatever else you want to do, but that's not who you are. Your light, your vibration, your energy, that's the gift. You're the gift because you chose to be here. You chose to be here on this planet. And everybody's needed. No one person is less or more important. So if you're on the planet this time, you are needed, you wanted. We're so blessed to be here at this time. And I get it. It may not feel like a blessing because there's so much pain on the planet. But the planet is going through a shift like it's never been before. And it's an opportunity for us to shift if we're open to it.
Welcome to the Daily Soul Bytes Show. I am your host, Bolaabimbola, frequency alchemist, energy practitioner, and intuitive life coach. Daily Soul Bytes is where we have guest authors, coaches, and entrepreneurs from the fields of spirituality, psychology, and leadership, sharing their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today I have a very special guest, Nimesh Radia, right here in the UK with me. Welcome to the show, Nimesh.
Thank you, Bola. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited for this conversation. Loving the energy, loving the vibes. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So am I. We resonate on so many levels.
I can feel it.
Yes. So I'll read a bit about your bio before.
Sure.
Nimesh Radia is a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Record Reader, and the host of the globally ranked Spiritual Journey, Path to Awakening podcast. After 25 years in the corporate world, he now guides individuals to reconnect with their soul, heal old patterns, and embody their light. And through mentorship, readings, and training, Nimesh helps others navigate awakening and raise collective consciousness. That is so wonderful. So tell us, Nimesh, thank you so much. Thank you. Tell us, Nimesh, how did you get to this place where you really became much, very aware of your awakening and you began to connect to the multidimensional realms and now you're helping others? When did this start?
Hinduism generally allows for things like reincarnation and karma. So I had a base there. Born in Uganda, at 3 years old, we were asked to all leave. I had 4 brothers, 4 sisters, 1 younger sister, everyone else is older. We were given 2 weeks to leave Uganda, refugee in the UK. So growing up, I really didn't have a voice. And it's interesting now, I regard my voice as my gift. So I kind of finished my education. I was we struggled financially growing up. So I was very much determined to become successful in the corporate space. I was very focused, very kind of that positive mental attitude. Anything I put my mind to, I could do. For a while, I was looking for teachers, courses, meditations, whatever, to fix me. Tell me what I need to do and I'll be fixed. And over time, I realized I don't need to be fixed. Over time, I realized that everything I need is inside me, all the love, all the joy. And that led me to start to work with my mentor, my friend, Cedric Jeffrey, who really helped me to understand the healer I am, my vibration, my energy. I supported her in events in Mexico, Hawaii, India, Spain, UK, all over the world. And I really thought as a group, we were going to raise the consciousness of the planet together. And she passed away in a fire, aged only 38 years old in March 2020. But she quickly became one of my spiritual guides. And she's the one that pushed me to learn how to read Akashic Records. And Akashic Records are a record of everything a soul's been through. So I only learned how to read the records because I wanted to understand my soul contract with Cedra. I knew we weren't done. And it was such a beautiful process. I kind of understood that she supports me on the other side and I do the work here. Sometimes I do ask her, why can't we do it the other way around? But that's a whole different conversation. But through the records, and it was such a beautiful process. I started reading for friends. I'm now read for thousands. I got the message through the records that my voice is my gift. And that's where the podcast started. So I started the podcast in October 2020. I named it in Sidra's honor. It has her initials, Spiritual Journey, Sidra Jeffrey. So I kind of feel like she guides it. Yeah, I mean, now it's just kind of gone crazy. It's globally in the top 2%. Crazy numbers. I feel so guided and blessed. Through the records, I channel the mentorship program I do that guide people on to truly shine their light. I left the corporate space a couple of years ago to try to focus on, as you say, guiding people to shine their light. I really feel like the planet is going through a shift. I feel like I'm here to guide people, hold their space while they go through the shift. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about my history and kind of what brings me here.
That is so powerful. I love the way you really have embraced and embodied your gift, and developed it. And in fact, using the bereavement of your loving partner, of your loving business partner, using that to connect even more, to allow her to support you. Because I also have that experience with my father passing. He passed when I was 11, and he now guides me in my work.
Wow,
and he
beautiful.
supports me, and he's guided me in particular critical incidents, through a kidnapping, through a highway robbery, through so many challenging incidents, as well as experiences, divorce and all of that. His voice is clear, and it's and he tells me all the time, I am more of a father to you now than I ever was. And that is something that I think is such a gift.
Beautiful.
When we realize that we are much more than this physical body, there are 7 even more layers outside that physical body that we can work on, which is why I love energy healing. I love
So beautiful, right?
It goes beyond the physical.
Yeah.
So tell me about your work as an Akashic Record Reader.
Actually, before we go there, you mentioned your dad being a guide, and I just it reminds me of my dad. So my dad passed away over 30 years ago, and I wasn't spiritual when I was, but I didn't know I was spiritual when he was here, and he was. And when he left this realm, when he was here, he was always helping everybody else, and he was kind of there for everybody. And in many ways, he wasn't there for me. And when he left this realm, with the work I do, I knew he'd ascended, and I just assumed he was somewhere else. And I think I couldn't feel his energy around me, and it's just the work I've done over the last few years. I've realized that actually he's around me all the time. So he's also one of my spiritual guides. And the reason I share that story is his energy is different on the other side. So the reason I couldn't feel his energy, because one, his energy was around me all the time, and two, his energy, because its vibration is different on the other side, his energy was different. So it was a bit of a surprise to me. So if you have lost a loved one, I guess the reason I'm sharing that is be open to their energy being different on the other side. You got to trust your intuition when you feel their energy, and just I feel like we're getting a lot more support from our ancestors, those that were on this planet, but also those that weren't, so much more now, and be open to feeling that magic. So just side on. In terms of Akashic Records, for me, the records have been a doorway to other realms. It's, sure, you can use Akashic Records to get messages. They're a record of everything your soul's been through, current life, past life, future life, parallel life. And when you get a reading, I connect to your guides and I channel a message for you. It's a very safe space. I don't feel like I'm there as a human. It's probably the time I feel most connected to source, because the human in me isn't really there, and I'm a vessel. And I don't change the message and filter it. But the journey for me with the records, like I said, it opened up a doorway to other realms. It opened up a partnership with my guides, my soul family, to a whole different level. And, Akashic Records for me is a human label. I feel like we've all accessed the records in some kind of way. There's something we can access. But when you learn how to connect with them, when you actually get a reading, basically you're giving me, or whichever reader you pick, an opportunity to help and guide you build a stronger bridge to your guides. And for me, I'll always tell people, your guides, don't put them on a pedestal. Don't assume they know what you need. It's a partnership. Sometimes they get it wrong. Sometimes they push us too much. We have to we have to partner with them rather than put them on a pedestal. And for me, the records allowed me to do that, to really understand why I'm here, to understand my purpose. My deal with my guides and God is, look, I'm going to just keep showing up. Wherever you send me, wherever I'm meant to go, I'm just going to trust and I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up. And that's, everyone stresses about the purpose. What's the purpose? Why are you stressing? Why do you want to limit yourself to one thing? Why don't you truly just decide and know that you're here to shine your light and just keep showing up for yourself, and trust whatever, because I don't feel like right now, I feel like that we're being pushed to focus on this moment. I feel like we're getting glimpses of what's coming, but the shift is so big that we can't, if we saw all of it, it'd be just too much for us to take as a human. So we are being asked to trust. And for me, the record just, it opens you up to the vibration of your guides. It opens you up to feeling the love that you have around you. It opens you up to, so many people see it as a way of getting their answers. It's so much more than that. It's a bridge to so many other realms and so much magic. And like I said, I feel like we all have a natural connection. Our soul knows how to connect with our records. The human may just need reminding. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. But yeah, I could talk about the records for hours. I mean, I do release a monthly episode where I open the Akashic Records for the month for the collective, and I share a message. So that's a beautiful way of just starting your connection with the records. If you want to feel it, I open the records on the episode, so you I invite all of our guides. I invite you to really feel the deeper connection with your guides, and I channel the message. Everyone always says, "Well, it's for the collective. It's not for me." I've invited you guides. So if you listen to the message, I would say that the message is 100% for you if you're open to it.
That's so powerful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because I think a lot of us, we are really brought up to think we have just that one personality, just that one unchanging self. But when we think of ourselves at the age of 2, 3, 4, and as adults now, we are different. That self is constantly changing. And that unchanging part of us is the essence, that trueness within us. Because I remember at the age of 18 coming across a book on the shelves at home by Ramana Maharishi called Who Am I? The book was called Who Am I? And it talked about the higher self and the physical ego self. And I didn't really understand a lot of it at the time, but it really activated within me an understanding of self, of the true self, which is spirit. Our true authentic self is actually spirit. And it is not in physical form at all. It is of unconditional love. And then the physical ego self is that self that is really in fear and survival. And we need it. We need it to live in this 3D. We do need it to expand all the things we need to do. But it's important for us to really come to that place where we're allowing it to trust and so on. And I want to talk about that trust a little bit more. But I also wanted to expand on that Akashic record concept as a modality, because I'm also an Akashic record reader, in terms of working through the different information and data, all the things that we have been through, different lifetimes. Even if we don't believe in reincarnation, there's a sequence of events that occurs that we have stored in the Akashic record. And it's really where we can come to understand the patterns, the different patterns of the different selves in the different timelines. There are so many patterns, so many lifetimes, and it's important for us to understand these patterns, even if we're not taking account of the soul's purpose. The actual patterns allows us to know what we want to align to and what we want to actually no longer allow or no longer engage with, because we have all these thoughts in our heads all the time, the 60 to 90,000 thoughts in that physical body. How do we know which thoughts we want to align to and which ones we want to actually disengage from? So I did want to ask you about the trust, because yes, we may become aware of the different trust of the different beliefs that are coming at us. How do we as Akashic Record readers support our clients? And I do want your perspective on how you do it. How do you support your clients to really come to that place where they are now that physical ego self, the different versions, the different parts, that unchanging, constantly changing rather,
Sure.
constantly changing parts of that physical ego self? How do you support your clients, Nimesh, to really begin to surrender, to trust, as you guide them, as you were led? What are the steps that you support them to take?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much to your question, right? I mean, first of all, we're a soul having a human experience, so we brought so much into this planet to experience. I really feel that all the souls that are here now have chosen to heal so much personal, but also ancestral karma. So knowing why you came onto the planet, knowing, I feel like we come onto this planet, one, to release so much karma, two, for our soul to expand, and three, it's almost like training us for what we're meant to do next. And you mentioned the ego. The ego is all part of us too. It's all kind of different facets of us. There's so much more than the human. And knowing what you brought into this planet, karma wise, what you're here to expand, I guide people to understand their soul contracts. So when we incarnate into this physical body, we already know, the soul already knows what we're here to experience. Already knows what we need to experience in this lifetime, and that's where our soul contracts come from. So we interact with other souls before we incarnate into our physical body, and agree what that soul contract is going to be, especially the major ones. So that could include, falling in love. That can include, heartbreak. And with the same soul, right? That can include, for example, our blood family are not always here to love us. They're always here to expand us in some kind of way, because they can push our buttons but we have this programming which says, our blood family should love us, our parents should love us unconditionally and support us in this kind of way. And that's not really, I feel more and more right now that that's not really the soul contract. The soul contract is for our blood family to expand us. And I guide people to understand why they're here, to remove the layers of the human, because we've been through so much, kind of religious programming, kind of parental programming, societal programming, career, whatever. There's so many layers, and we bring so much into it beforehand, right? What we should expect from my mom and from my dad. We bring all of that in. But I feel like what we're doing right now is we're breaking all those barriers. We're moving from divine masculine to divine feminine, which is all about shifting from I think to I feel, shifting to our heart. And I really guide people to gain a deeper understanding of why they're here by removing all the layers and helping and guiding people to get to the core of who they are. And it's, Akashic Records are a great modality. I have something that it's on my shelf. I can guide people. But there's so much more to that. I mean, mentoring, and what I do through a 12-week program is I really help people understand their physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies, because our karma, our whatever we're holding on to, whatever we're here to release, could be held in one of those bodies. So I really help people to understand who they are, releasing the layers. And because, as you said, we have so many avatars, we have so many versions of ourselves. How we are at home, how we are at work. And we're going to be different in those environments, but I teach people to have a core set of values. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And it's that really understanding the core of who you are. And, I guide people to understand that actually you're the gift. It's not, you can learn to become an Akashic Record Reader, Reiki, whatever else you want to do, but that's not who you are. Your light, your vibration, your energy, that's the gift. You're the gift because you chose to be here. You chose to be here on this planet, and everybody's needed. No one person is less or more important. So if you're on the planet this time, you are needed, you're wanted. And I guide people to help them understand that, because I feel like the planet over the next year, maybe 18 months, is going to go through such a shift. It's going to go through so much change. And I feel like people are going to have a choice of getting consumed by the noise on the planet, kind of trying to fix everything that you can't really change, or focus on the inside and the healing. Because it's same time as the planet's shifting, so are we inside. And which one are we going to choose? Are we going to choose to get lost in the noise of the planet, or are we going to choose? And if we choose to focus on the inside, we can shine our light so much brighter that we can become the bridge and help and guide other people and let them know they have an option. And I really feel like I mentor mentors and I guide them to shine their light. And we're not here to fix anybody. We're not here to force anyone to change. But what if we can give them an option and let them know they have a different way of being? And in reality, we're probably going to have our foot in both camps, right? There's probably going to be part of us that is going to feel the pain on the planet. Of course, we're human, right? But what I really want to guide people to do is to really focus on what's happening on the inside. Because if you're getting lost in the noise on the outside, what you're really doing is running away from what's happening on the inside. Again, just my view, right? So that's a long answer to a short question, but
No,
I'm passionate. I really feel like this is the time. We're so blessed to be here at this time. And I get it. It may not feel like a blessing because there's so much pain on the planet, but the planet is going through a shift like it's never been before. And it's an opportunity for us to shift if we're open to it.
I totally agree. Totally agree, Nimesh, because there's always the ups and downs, and nobody ever comes to a place where they no longer have downs anymore. But what we can come to have is that understanding, that self-acceptance, that resilience that allows us to shift through those downs much faster and allows us to hold on to the unconditionally loving essence that we truly are for much longer. So I think this is the value of us really understanding the layers beyond the physical body. You have that etheric body that is really holding the information of the organs. This is the work that I do with my clients, really helping them to understand the different layers within them. And I come to understand which of the bodies actually need particular cleansing or particular activation, because beyond the physical and etheric you have the emotional, which has all the emotional data. Then you have the mental, which has all the beliefs. Then you have the astral, which is the heart body, which is where that unconditionally loving self is, and a lot of the work on forgiveness is done there. Then you also have that etheric template, which is where the physical and the etheric body are being, there's that architecture that's creating the reality. And sometimes you do need some cleansing in that particular template. Then you also have the celestial, which is where the soul lies, that soul body. And, sometimes our aura, which is where all these layers are in, is about 5 feet beyond our body. And
100%.
we actually don't realize how much our energy speaks even before our body gets there. As soon as we're getting close to somebody, they're already, their celestial layers and their etheric layers and their mental bodies, both are meshing together. They'll either bring us up or it will take us down. And having those tools, the practice that allows us to surrender, to trust, because I love what you said about the awareness that you bring to your clients, being aware of what those layers hold, what beliefs they have, what emotions they're holding across the physical, the spiritual, the mental. And it's really key for us. I really want to break this down, Nimesh.
Sure. Let's do it.
There are so many of us who really are conditioned to only look at that physical body. And in every tradition, in every culture, there is an understanding of that Akashic. Whether you're from the Christian or the Hebrew, and it's called 100%. The Book of Life, or you're from the Egyptians, call it the Hall of Records. There is an understanding that there is information of everything that I have ever done, that I could be doing, or I will ever do, in any version, in any timeline. That is such powerful information.
100%.
Which we can come to use in any moment to release, to trust, and to align to what we prefer, without any kind of judgment, any kind of guilt or fear. become more fearless,
Yeah.
allowing that masculine and feminine sides of us to come in and become neutral. Because I don't believe in letting go of that masculine self, which is about decision making.
Oh, we need balance,
About
right?
being action,
Yeah.
yes. And the feminine side is where we're being intuitive, we're nurturing, we're finding that rest. So allowing ourselves to know who we are through the records, through whatever
Yeah.
modalities, reflecting, allowing ourselves to be guided to come to that place of neutrality so we can flow. Flow is really what we can do when we are coming from that place of unconditional love. We can come to flow even more. Yes, there is the struggle of the day to day, but we can come to let that higher self drive that day to day from that place of flow. And it takes practice, it
It
takes
does.
a learning, unlearning the way we have led life as victims and coming to live life, learn to live life as empowered beings. So I would love you to tell us, Nimesh, how do you support your clients to really come to that place of flow? What are the 1, 2, 3 steps? You already mentioned some of the things that you enable your clients to become more aware of, how you support them to own a true sense of worth, a true sense of value. But then they come away from your sessions, and how do they come to flow more with life as opposed to trying to manipulate in that masculine way? How do they come to that balance, neutral place, which is where the flow dwells?
For me, you mentioned awareness, right? The first stage in any healing is to really become aware. To become aware that everything that's happening to you is happening to you for a reason. It's something that your soul chose to expand you in some kind of way. And the way that I guide people to become aware is to change the question. Because sometimes we stay in victim mode, right? Something happens to us, it's like, oh, I knew this was going to happen. And, for example, we try and connect with our guides, and the way we try and connect, we'll ask a question, we'll ask them to do something. But in our mind, we're like, I know this is not going to happen. So our guides hear that, and they're like, okay, this person doesn't want this to happen, so we will support them and it won't happen. So your guides are actually doing what you asked them to do, but awareness is by changing your question. So if something's happening to you, changing your question and saying, well, how is this serving me? How is it expanding? How is it really kind of serving me? And that awareness helps you to, for a while, it kind of, oh God, look at me. How cool am I? I'm aware of, part of my language. I'm doing dumb shit. I'm still doing it. Right. But that awareness from there, you have to accept who you are. And that's the power is you can't shift into the new version to go through an upgrade unless you accept and fall in love with this version of who you are. So I really guide people to fall in love with all aspects of themselves. It's not, you mentioned the ego. It's not about killing the ego. We need the ego. It's part of who we are. It's like, we all have light and dark in us, and you can't, so often things happen to us and we push it down. It's like because we're too busy. We're too busy to handle it. But everything light and dark is serving us. So the darkness, if you push it down, you're giving it power. If you embrace every part of you, including the dark side, what you're doing is you're taking its power away. And the inner child, it's like we've been through so much. We carry so much to this life. Then we've been through so much growing up. And our inner child, again, gives us so many clues as to what we're here to deal with in this lifetime and what we're holding on to. And, so much inner child work for me right now is, sure, connecting to your inner child, understanding what your inner child's been through, but also bringing your inner child out to play. We're a soul having a human experience. So it should be fun. It should be laughter. It should be joy. But life's become so serious. So I guide people to truly accept who they are, embrace and understand you're the gift. You're light. You mentioned your aura, right? You mentioned before you walk into a room, people can also already sense your energy. And knowing that when you walk into a room, it's a gift for the people in the room, and accepting that is so powerful. And it's just like we love to put each other down. And, I guide people to truly prioritize themselves and to realize when you prioritize yourself, your light becomes so much brighter and you can help so many more people. And that's the beauty here is that, we do have so many layers. We do have so much. And the other thing is, I guide people to understand that everything in the external world is a result of something in their internal world. For example, if you look at your life right now and you think of yourself as a Disney prince or a princess or a superhero, and you look at all the souls, you pick those souls to be in your life at this time. They're serving you. They're your characters. They're serving you in some kind of way. So if you stop and ask and just, okay, this soul is in my life. Why are they here? What have they taught me? Is my soul contract complete? Then maybe you start to understand the souls in your world. And the other question and the work that I do is, once you raise your vibration, you start doing the healing, you can't force people to do the same around you. And once you start raising your vibration, there's a natural effect that sometimes people fall away. And what we sometimes do is we hold on to those. When a soul contract is complete, I always say pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. That's when we suffer, when we hold on to things and people, when we know that we don't. And there's a fear in us that if we let go of those souls, what's it going to be replaced with? And I'll challenge people who are listening to really look at the people in your world and ask, are you lowering your vibration to be around them? Do you have people in your world that truly lift you up, that challenge you in the right sort of way? Because I feel like the shift that we're going into, it is about changing our inner circle. It is about community, so much more about community than it was. And changing your inner circle and making sure they're lifting you up, I feel is preparing us for the next phase. And I help people, because there's a phase 2 of what I do, is I guide people. So phase 1 is really about the 12-week mentorship program, is really about understanding who you are on the inside, doing the healing, releasing all the stuff that we've been here, understanding your soul contracts, understanding the karma that you've already released, kind of really accepting this version of you. And the second phase is, now you've gone through all that work, how are you going to use it to shine on the planet? What are you going to do? And, do you want to become a healer? What does that look like? Do you want to become a mentor? What does that look like? Because I feel like we're all being pushed to do something different. And this is a phase of transition where we're all going through something. We're all feeling the shift. And the human in us, the ego in us, wants to understand what that shift's going to look like, wants to be able to control it, wants to be able to put it in a box. And our soul, our spirit is like, let's go. We're riding this wave. We're ready. We work lifetimes to be here at this time. So again, I work to help people find balance, to really kind of help the ego understand that actually this isn't time for control. This isn't time for fear. This is a time of trust that they've been preparing for. And I really guide the soul and the spirit to really lead the way, because we are shifting from head to heart. So that's a long answer to your question, but I feel passionate about guiding people to really be themselves, because, any mentor should not really be here to fix you. I very rarely tell somebody what to do. I'll guide them, intuitively guide them. I have a framework that I use, but actually the framework is really just there for the human. The human loves a framework, kind of loves having a structure but really what I do is every session is channeled. I adjust the agenda. I basically would debate based on what, and that's what we do really, is we channel. It's more about connecting soul to soul. It's more about connecting you with your guides, helping you understand that the set of guides you have in this lifetime are different. They're here for this level of expansion the planet's going through. And I help people understand they're needed and they're meant to be here, because so many people are feeling like they don't want to be here. And the reality is, the reason you're feeling like you don't want to be here is because you're not meant to fit in. You're not meant to fit into the mold of a program life. So if you're feeling like you don't want to be here, it's because you don't belong here. But that doesn't mean you're not needed here. It doesn't mean that you can't find your place to break the mold, to truly shine your light. And that's what I love to do.
Thank you, Nimesh. Now, that is so powerful. And there is such a lot of work that needs to be done to really allow our own self to open up to more. There's nothing on the outside of us sometimes that tells us that we can be more. So we really have to look for those around us who can, no matter where we are in the world, whether it's through a book or through a workshop. There's so many things around us that can help us to shift from that place of being stuck, from that dark night of the soul to another version of us. But I know what you said about acceptance, and I totally believe that. This is why I wrote Daily Soul Bites. This is a book I wrote in 2020, and it's been republished now by Babel Press, a division of A House, in audiobook as well as the paperback.
Beautiful.
And really, this book talks about the different perspectives of self. There's higher perspectives of love and forgiveness and gratitude that shift us higher and higher. And we have the lower perspectives of fear and survival and anxiety. And we can come to understand the different perspectives that are within us. The Daily Soul Bites is talking about the different perspectives, high and low, of 31 different nuggets. And it really activates within the reader an understanding of the perspectives within their own self. Because this is where awareness comes in. What are we being aware of? We're being aware of the perspectives of the different parts of us. And then we can choose to align. We can choose to align to that higher perspective. And as we align, whatever we're focusing on is what is expanding. And consciousness, life force, has a thirst for expansion. This is where you have all those plants growing between, between pavements, on the walls. Consciousness wants to grow. There's a thirst. And when we align to it, when we consciously choose, in fact, I give an example. We have a lot of different experiences that that may come up, that unfold. And sometimes I remember saying to my brother one day about an incident that I'd experienced, and I said to him, I had a client who had not really appreciated the work that I'd done, and some of the comments that they had made had not made me feel that I had been appreciated. And he said to me, what exactly did they say? And I said to him, they said this, they said that. And he said, what else did they say? They said this, they said that. And then I heard him say, actually, they only said one thing that wasn't appreciative of you. Everything else they said was appreciative of you. And I'd focused on that one thing that they had said that was not something that I would prefer. And it happens to all of us.
Of course.
We all have these moments when we will align to something that is of a lower frequency than another. And really, it's about coming to know that all those frequencies are within us always. You never come to a place where you don't have low or high frequencies within you. You always have both. And it's about understanding that what am I thinking now? I loved it when you said, why? What am I thinking? This inner inquiry is a powerful tool. And I'm talking about flow. How do we come to flow with life? For me, it starts with understanding those perspectives and then aligning to what we know is a higher perspective. Forgiving quicker, being grateful for quicker, and allowing consciousness, allowing life force to expand, and it gets bigger and bigger, and we're experiencing versions of us in different timelines that allow us to do more of those things we prefer, create more, because consciousness is thirsty. Oh, you never, in fact, you have to be mindful of burnout when you're in flow, because sometimes we think, oh, flow, will I get bored? No. You so interested in so many things, so many people want to align to you more. The same things you did before now appear more meaningful to others. They are received in a much more meaningful way. And so there is a need for us to have a little bit of a curiosity about flow. Have a little bit of a thirst for flow, for that life that is about being guided as opposed to trying to manipulate. And I did understand what you said, thank you, Nimesh, about soul contracts, because this is something that I know a lot of us sometimes don't want to let go of. And I'm glad that is part of the work that you do as well. I also do that in my 8-week programs, supporting clients to really release, trust, and allow that new version of self of their own self and the new version of that other person as well to turn up. So you may decide in your mind that you're cutting off the soul contract with your partner and you're letting it go. And you go to work and you come back and you're actually in another timeline. That cord that you have broken with that old version has allowed another version to emerge. So it's important to release what is not serving us quicker and quicker so that we can begin to experience more of our best outcomes. So I would love you to really expand. Thank you so much, Nimesh. I love the resonance that that is that we're feeling in this episode.
I love it too.
Really lovely.
Yeah.
But I would love you to explain to us this thing about the masculine and the feminine and getting to that place of balance, because this is about the essence within us, regardless of gender.
Yeah.
We all have that masculine and
100%.
feminine essence. And how do you support your clients to come? Because that is part of flow.
So let me answer the question about coming into flow first, because I feel like I missed a bit there. And that, for me, coming into flow is being present in this moment. Because if we're honest with ourselves, if you look at the last few years with lockdown and all the rest of it, and kind of how much control have we really had? But the thing we can really control is this moment. And for me, being in flow is really be present in this moment. What's the magic in this moment? What can you be grateful for in this moment? And I get I make it sound simple, but if you being in flow is being present in the moment. How else do you do that? The self-care that we have, in terms of how much meditation, time in nature, some sort of physical activity, putting you first, allows you to really be present. And from being that present, you can be present in the moment, because so many of us want to bypass doing the work. You mentioned it earlier, right? We all have work to do. And it's like, you want this magic epiphany, this big flash in the sky, but having the self-care and doing the work, doing the inner child healing, kind of really knowing that you don't have to fix yourself, but constantly bringing yourself back in the moment. Breathe and be present. And just, if you can feel the magic in this moment, the next moment becomes even more magical. And as far as the masculine and the feminine, I really feel like this planet for many centuries has been focused on the divine masculine, kind of all the kind of wars and, so many spiritual leaders have been talking about shifting from the third dimension to the fifth dimension, ascension. We have all these lovely human labels for it. The shift I'm feeling is from masculine to feminine, and that's happening in all of us. In some kind of way, the masculine in us is having an identity crisis because of the shift. Everything we've kind of, the old version of ourselves, everything we used to be excited about, even our friend circle, we feel different about things. And it's confusing people, right? It's like, well, hold on, what's going on? And what's also happening as the divine feminine kind of rises and starts to find balance in us, we are feeling more. And people are confused because you're having an identity crisis on the masculine and something is shifting inside you and it's making you feel uncomfortable. People are feeling like something's happening, but they want to understand it, but they don't really understand it. And it's kind of like, and how do you find balance between masculine and feminine is really, again, you come back to awareness and acceptance. Acceptance that everything you've been through has made you who you are today. No right or wrong. I get asked the question all the time, if I could change something, what would I do? And my answer is always, I won't change anything because I am the person I am today because of what I've been through. Yes, maybe I don't want to experience the pain as much as I did or whatever, but that's just my human mind getting but really accepting who you are today, whether it's masculine, whether it's feminine, and kind of that person you are, and embracing new things, embracing doing things you've never done before, putting yourself out your comfort zone, because we've got so comfortable. In many ways, we've got comfortable in being in pain, being in stuck in an environment, being stuck in relationships, because they're safe. And so what I encourage people to do is to really start to really consider, how are they going to shine their light? How are they going to actually show up in this world? How are they showing up for themselves? And, it's like, if you've got kids, etc., it's like, yes, you should, the program says we're all got to put the kids first. I agree, but that doesn't mean at the expense of yourself. It's like, so What example are you setting for your kids if you're prioritizing everybody else over yourself? What are they going to do? So we're here to break the cycles, and how to really find the balance is really accepting all parts of you and knowing that from that point of acceptance, you can then reset, rebirth, and you can then decide who you want to be next. It's like you become aware that you're in this human experience and you chose to be here, because when we're born into the physical body, we have all our soul contracts. But if we know, for example, we're here to experience pain, we're gonna try and avoid it, right? So we have the veil of amnesia. So we go through our life, we experience everything, and the veil becomes thinner as we do the work. As we not just as we get older, but as we do the work, the veil. So our understanding, our awareness of who we are starts to increase. From that awareness, that's when we have to accept. We have to accept, and it's tough sometimes. It's like if we chose to experience a lot of pain in this life, and I know so many souls have at this time. You wonder, well, wait, hold on. If my soul chose this, why would I pick this? But that's also where acceptance comes from, is that you chose this life. You chose you as a soul, not as a human, but as a soul. And you chose it because you had to release so much karma. And it's like, for example, if you experience heartbreak, I feel there's a strong likelihood that heartbreak came from some karma you needed to release in this lifetime. And through the Akashic Records, you understand the soul's journey. And, with some of the work I've done, you experience heartbreak in a previous life, death in a previous life, it's sort of like you start, and so many people kind of, not so much anymore, but back in the day used to come for Akashic Records because they wanted to kind of learn about the past lives, because they, somehow thought that would fix everything in this human life. It doesn't always work that way. You've got to do the work in this human life. But what you can do is become more aware. And with all the work that we do, that's what we really do, is we help people become aware. The acceptance, we can guide people to accept, but it really is a personal journey. I can't force somebody to accept who they are. I can't force somebody to accept that they chose these soul contracts. They chose this soul journey. I can't force someone to accept that they are the light, that they have so much beautiful light in them that if they truly felt it, they'd feel how powerful they are. I can only guide someone to what that feels like. I can't force them to accept it, right? And it's awareness, acceptance, and it's always love. You accept yourself, and then you fall in love with yourself unconditionally. And that includes the masculine, because, we're a soul having a human experience. Being spiritual doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't. It really doesn't. Actually, I feel like healers, we go through things at such a deeper level because we're meant to. So it doesn't mean that you're going to bypass it. And it's just so accepting that you're a soul having a human experience and kind of living in the present, living in the moment. Because how often do we say, you know what, once I've been through this phase, then I'll be happy. Once I learn this course, then I'll be happy. Once I get married, then I'll be happy. Once I get this house, what are we waiting for? We're a soul having a human experience. The experience, the joy, the acceptance, the beauty is in this moment. It's not in the future. Mm-hmm. Because we're a soul having a human experience. I really, you talk about being in flow. I feel like guiding people between divine masculine, divine feminine is really about accepting all aspects of you. And being in flow is knowing and accepting that you're a magical being and that you're going to have human experiences. As you said, it's like you're going to go through things. It's not about what happens to you. It's about how quickly you get up and bounce back. It's not about, it's not about it's how you, the magic saying, and it's not about what happens to you, it's how you respond to what happens to you. But that's so true that I teach people, and it's just when you're on a higher vibration and you've kind of worked to raise your vibration, you're doing all the self-care. When something happens, the dip becomes less. When you're already kind of in a kind of medium place and you experience something major, that's when you experience a much bigger dip. So when you raise your vibration, it doesn't mean that you're not going to face challenges, but it means when you face challenges, you respond rather than react. Because as a human, our primal thing is to react. If somebody attacks you, you defend or you attack back. That's primal. But when you do the inner work, when you do the self-care, you switch from react to respond. You practice the pause. You breathe before you and you choose to respond. And when you choose to respond, you can respond from love. You can respond from compassion.
Mhm.
When you react, it's primal. And many times you make this, and again, I make it sound simple, but doing the self-care, looking after yourself, meditation, time in nature, feeling the beauty around you and inside you, that's where the magic comes from.
Mm. Mm.
Again, a long answer to your question, but I love
No,
this stuff because it's
beautiful.
like such a powerful question. So thank you.
No, it's thank you, Nimesh. Thank you so much because that feminine and masculine essence, it's such an important thing because those are modalities that we can really come to understand that allows us to be more in flow. Because we have the wounded masculine that is very much around that kind of bullish or that kind of corruption. There is a lot of the kind of wounded masculine around us, but there's also the divine masculine, which is about taking action, about setting boundaries. Boundaries are key. And you also have that wounded feminine as well, that wounded
Yeah,
feminine that really doesn't know how to receive, doesn't really know how to rest, how to ask for help,
that's
because
key. Yeah,
those are wounded feminine. But you have the very divine feminine as well. That is really about being opening up to receiving, to nurturing, to being intuitive. So there is a need for us, and different people will have different
100%.
degrees of the wounded and the divine within them, and how they can really come to embrace more of the divine masculine and the divine feminine, having let go of those parts of them through love. Because those parts that are carrying the wounded essences will not just die. They need to surrender.
For
They
sure.
need to trust from that place of love. And they need to feel soothed and seen. So this is what our work is about, Nimesh.
It's a journey, 100%.
Really coming to a place of learning how to allow those wounded parts of us, the wounded masculine and feminine, to surrender, for us to embrace that divine feminine and divine masculine essence all within us as
Yeah,
empowered beings,
I
because
love it. I agree.
that is so critical. And I loved what you said about the dark night of the soul as well, because I believe there are so many dark nights. It's not just one.
I
You have,
agree. I agree.
you have, and you say, "Oh, I thought I'd overcome my dark night," and then on a Tuesday, then on a Friday, another dark night shows up
Yeah,
because it's a different version of self. There are different
100%.
versions of
Yeah,
us that are having different dark nights, and they're portals, and how we embrace them, how we work through them depends on the modalities and the tools that we have. The tools that worked yesterday may not work today.
100%.
But this is why I, as a person, love energy healing, because no matter what other tool I'm using, whether it's sound, whether I'm going into therapy or whatever else, energy healing is so key because it just connects us to that divine aspect of
Yeah,
us, which is completely, infinitely intelligent, loving, allows us to feel loved. And
true.
that energy is so, that loving energy is so key. It's what the wounded parts of us
Yeah.
actually need. So thank you so much. Do you have any final words for us today, Nimesh, before we go?
The best thing I can advise is be kind to yourself. You've been through so much and we're so hard. Allow yourself to fall in love with you. Allow yourself to get help. You're not on your own. You're not in this side of in the human realm, but also on the other side. You have so much help and support. Allow yourself to be supported. Allow yourself to be held. If in this moment you can just close your eyes and just feel the energy around you, feel how supported you are by the universe. It's time for you to fall in love with you and everything that's around you. You are meant to be here. You're loved. You're needed. You're wanted. You chose to be here. And I'm sure there's somebody listening saying, well, he's not talking to me, he's talking to somebody else. If you're saying that to yourself, actually, I'm 100% talking to you. You are needed, you're wanted, and you're very much loved. Allow yourself to feel that love and focus on you in this moment. Bola, thank you for this opportunity. So much love, there's so much high vibration in this space, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Nimesh. I loved your final words. Thank you. Thank you so much. Where can people find you when they want to connect with you, Nimesh?
So all my socials are my name. So Nimesh-Radia on Insta, Facebook, wherever. Podcast is called Spiritual Path. So Spiritual Journey Path to Awakening. Again, available on all platforms. My website is again my name, nimesh-radia.com. So yeah, just follow my name and you'll find me. So you can book an Akashic record reading, a fruit discovery call to talk about mentorship. Good way to always start is by listening to the podcast, this podcast, my podcast, and if you want to connect with the records, then yeah, listen to that monthly episode. The other thing, I have a monthly free Zoom, 90 minutes. It's free. It's always around the full moon, and I like to do a full moon meditation to kind of relax because I love the moon. It's kind of so healing and so empowering for me. And we also open the group Akashic Records, so and channel a group message. So if you want to just really experience what I do in the kind of that Zoom call is the free webinar is a good place to start.
Thank you, Nimesh. Thank you for joining me today. Wonderful.
Thank you. Such a beautiful energy. Thank you. Such a high vibration and felt like a really much of a channeled conversation. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Nimesh. And
Sending so much love and light. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to thank our audience for joining us today and to invite you to connect with Nimesh, because this is really all about getting the health that is around us, that is relevant to us, to really expand that individual consciousness and the collective consciousness around us. And also to invite you to connect with me and to subscribe if you haven't to Daily Soul Bytes Show. This is what we do. We have new outstanding guests like Nimesh who come every Wednesday. So connect with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the very next episode of Daily Soul Bytes Show. Bye-bye.